Welcome to this psychophilosophical spoken word internet series, Inalienable Paradise. This is aimed to providing stories and tactics to help people, even in the most traumatic and inescapable of circumstances, to help people with things universally accessible overcome such circumstances or feelings of terror, worthlessness, and helplessness. We hope we will provide the help that so many people need, and that you will find at least some value in this. Thank you. Welcome to another edition of Inalienable Paradise, where we explicate on tools that are universally accessible to every member of the human race, and things that can transform dark days into beautiful ones. Today we are focused on a very wonderful form of meditation called Hakalau meditation. So this idea came to me to do this episode when I was doing a podcast on Andrew Huberman. I believe that's his name. I wonder if that is his real name. Let me see. Yes. And he elaborated on how peripheral vision and using it to meditative effects is something that is available to everyone. And as soon as I heard that notion, I knew this was a good episode to do it on. And after some research, I landed on Hakalau meditation, which is a Hawaiian peripheral vision guided meditation. And I'm going to talk all about that and how to use it to turn your dark days into beautiful ones. So let's go into the history and etymology of Hakalau. Hakalau is an ancient Hawaiian practice with pretty deep cultural significance. The word Hakalau itself is rich in meaning. Often it's translated simply as eyes wide open, hinting at how this meditation is done with an open gaze rather than closed eyes, like most meditations. In the Hawaiian language, the term breaks down into two parts, haka and lau. Haka means to see or to focus, and lau means to spread out or to become expansive. This encapsulates the essence of Hakalau perfectly. It is a meditation of focused vision that expands outward. One traditional description puts it this way: Hakalau means to stare at it as in meditation and to allow to spread out, combining intense focus with a relaxed diffusion of attention. In other words, you keep your eyes open and fixed softly on a point, and then you let your awareness broaden, widen, and scanning to fill the whole panorama of your sight. In Hawaiian tradition, Hakalau is known as the active meditation of the kahuna. Now, the kahuna were the respected sages or priests of Hawaii, and Hakalau was a state they cultivated not just during ritual but in everyday life. It was essentially the waking meditation that a kahuna would carry through the day. It was a baseline of calm, heightened awareness. In fact, some of the earliest Western visitors to Hawaii remarked on the remarkable composure of the native people. According to one account, the first settlers who arrived described Hawaiians as being completely free of emotional, mental, or physical illness, always calm and balanced in body and mind. The local people seemed to dwell in a constant state of ease and alertness, which Hawaiian wisdom attributes to practices like Hakalau. This ever-present tranquility earned Hakalau the epithet the waking state of the kahuna, indicating that the kahuna and those trained by them were thought to be in a continuous gentle trance of awareness. In essence, life itself was their meditation. Etymologically and historically, then, Hakalau teaches a synergy of focus and expansion. By name and by practice, it marries the pinpoint attention of Haka, to focus, with the all-encompassing breadth of Lao, to spread out. There is a hint of paradox in it. Eyes open, yet deeply meditative. Mind fully engaged, yet completely at peace. For the kahuna, this wasn't a practice to do only on a mountaintop or in a sacred grove. It was an everywhere, every moment meditation. Hakalau was taught to students, referred to as homana, of the spiritual arts, as a fundamental skill that should become automatic, a natural mode of perception. They were encouraged to use this technique inside and outside of class, all the time, while walking, while cooking, while going about their daily tasks, until it became a habit of mind. The ability to enter this trance-like clarity at will was highly valued. It is said that with enough practice one could slip into Hakalau in an instant and maintain that state even amid movement and conversation. Little wonder that Hakalau also came to be associated with quick learning and even healing. In that state of open awareness, one is exceptionally receptive and balanced. From a cultural perspective, Hakalau exemplifies a second naivety of perception, a return to a wide-eyed, childlike mode of seeing the world. But now with the wisdom and intention of an adult, it's as if the Hawaiian elders realized that by resuming this innocent gaze, eyes open and wonder spread out in all directions, a person could regain a natural harmony. Modern researchers note the similarities between Hakalau and other meditative traditions. The alternating focus and expansion closely parallel the stages of dharana, concentration, and dhyana, meditation, described in the Yoga Sutras of India. Such parallels hint that Hakalau taps into a universal human capability, the capacity to shift one's awareness in a way that induces calm and clarity. But unlike many seated or closed-eye meditations, Hakalau's hallmark is that it's done with eyes open, actively engaging with the surroundings. This open-eyed approach made it especially practical for people who needed to stay aware of their environment. Navigators, warriors, performers, healers, all could benefit from a state that is both relaxed and ready. Before we delve into actually practicing Hakalau, let us appreciate that we've learned from its history. We have a practice refined by generations of Hawaiians for centuries, carrying meanings both literal and poetic. The word itself tells us what to do, gaze and expand. The stories surrounding it tell us why to do it, for tranquility, for insight, and connection to one's environment. Hakalau was not merely a technique, but a way of life that promised a kind of cosmic permission to live unburdened, permission granted by the very act of aligning one's attention with the breadth of the sky and the gentle rhythm of nature. With this understanding in mind, we can now transition from theory into practice. We're going to learn how to do Hakalau ourselves step by step in the same spirit of clarity and simplicity. So, having explored the background of Hakalau, we now turn to the practice itself. What follows is a step-by-step guide to entering a Hakalau state. I will describe it in clear, objective terms so you can easily follow along. Feel free to actually try this as I describe it. By the end of these steps, you should understand how to achieve the Hakalau meditation on your own. Before beginning, find a comfortable position. You may sit upright in a chair or on the floor. Anywhere you can remain relaxed yet alert. Many practitioners also like to start with a few deep centering breaths. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know my personal take on this, I always like to meditate laying down, because it compares with that Leonardo da Vinci quote about how every artist should start with a black canvas because the universe is black until exposed by light. And I think that the same way about the human body. Every body is lying on the floor until it is activated by the spirit of life. So the rule is motionless lying bodies, and the exception is moving and standing and breathing bodies. So that's why I always like to meditate laying down. In Hawaiian tradition, this often takes the form of ha breathing. Slow, deep inhalations through the nose, followed by extended exhalations through the mouth. Softly vocalizing ha as the breath leaves. Taking a series of these ha breaths will help settle your mind and bring focus. Once you feel grounded, you're ready to begin the Hakalau proper. Now, let's walk through the 5 stages of Hakalau meditation, using the traditional Hawaiian terms of each stage. Stage 1. Ho'ohaka. Focus the gaze. Choose a point in front of you to look at, ideally slightly above your eye level, on a wall or in the distance. The exact object isn't critical. It could be a mark on the wall, a doorknob, a spot on a tree, or a distant cloud. But it has to be above your eye level. By picking a spot above your eye level, you naturally open up your field of vision. Your gaze tilts upwards, meeting the bump of your eyebrows. That's very important, the bump of your eyebrows. Keep your head level, don't move your head. Keep your eyes up, but do not move your head. Eyes forward, and let your vision rest on that point. How I like to do it is to picture a red dot that's in the spot between my eyebrows and keep my eyes fixed on that point. That's what I do. You might notice that this upward gaze already feels pretty different, maybe even uncomfortable. But it engages a wide portion of your visual field. And now the second step is ku. Let go while focusing. As you continue to stare softly at your chosen spot, allow your mind to go loose. This means you aren't actively thinking or analyzing what you see. You're simply holding your attention on that point. The ku literally means to release or let go. In practice, this involves releasing any tight focus or internal chatter. All of your attention is on this one spot, or how I do it, this one red dot in between your eyebrows. Yet you hold it lightly. If thoughts arise, and they likely will, just let them pass without engagement. It's kind of like focusing on. It's kind of like gazing, stargazing, ocean gazing. You're kind of concentrating, but you're not concentrating, but you're not fixated on it. The key here is to maintain the visual focus while not stressing yourself in the process. And the third step is lau, which is expand your awareness. After about 1 or 2 minutes of this sustained motion, of this sustained stationary practice that you're in, you will notice something fascinating. Your vision begins to spread out. While keeping your eyes on the focal point, you become increasingly aware of what lies at the edge of your sight. Colors and shapes in your peripheral vision will sharpen and become a lot more noticeable than your normal waking life. Actively allow this to happen. This is lau, meaning to spread out. Instead of looking only at the point, sense the wider scene without moving your eyes. Let yourself see as much of the periphery as possible, above, below, to the sides. You might catch the outline of furniture around you, the ceiling and floor, or the full span of the landscape if you're doing this outdoors. At this stage, you are expanding the horizon of attention. Your vision becomes the opposite of what it's focused on. It is not this narrow beam, but it's a very broad glow encompassing everything in front of you. There may be a subtle shift in your mind and body as you do this, perhaps a release of tension in your face or a deepening of your breath. This widening of view often triggers a parasympathetic response in the nervous system, which means that your body moves toward relaxation. When you engage your peripheral vision, your physiology naturally becomes more calm and relaxed. And the fourth step is Hakalau. Embrace the peripheral. This stage carries the same name as the overall practice, because it is the heart of it. Now pay full attention to the peripheral field. In fact, give more attention to the peripheral vision than to the central focal point, without shifting your gaze. So this is a sort of, I know this is super nerdy, it's sort of a perceptual abiogenesis. Abiogenesis means something that turns into the opposite of itself. You know, your eyes physically are only looking at this point between your eyebrows, but as a result, you're mainly focusing on your peripheral vision, which is the complete total opposite of looking at a fixed spot above your eyes. Notice how the fringes of your vision seem almost alive with detail once you attend to them. You might perceive motion at the corners of your eyes, or simply a vivid sense of space. At this point, you may even lose clear focus of the original spot, and that's pretty good. Your eyes might almost glaze over in a soft focus state, and you are now in Hakalau proper. Your mind is quiet, your vision is wide. There is no single object of attention, rather awareness itself is the object. Thoughts that were at the forefront of your mind may fade into the background. You are alert to everything around you, but not hooked by any particular thing. This is a distinctly serene state. Many people report feeling like time slows down for them. Some describe a light euphoria or ecstatic calm that accompanies this broad awareness. You might experience a gentle detachment, as if observing the world from a slight remove, free of judgment. And simply remain here. Bask in this all-encompassing awareness for as long as it feels comfortable. And now step 5, Ho'okoi. Stay unified and present. The Hawaiian word Ho'okoi implies to make one, or to unify. This final stage, you just stay in the state for as long as you can, allowing the experience to deepen. You have effectively unified your attention with everything in your environment. Your sense of observer and observed might blur. Notice how it feels to dwell in this clarity. Perhaps you sense a profound calm or a connection to your surroundings that you don't normally feel. You might feel as though you have become expansive, your awareness stretching out to the very, very edges and limits of your sight. If any stray thoughts or distractions emerge, simply acknowledge them and let them drift away, keeping your attention gently diffused. And if you want to know my personal way of getting rid of intrusive thoughts, I forgot who said it. Let me find out who said it. Who was it? Was it? I don't. It was. It sounds similar to something Eckhart Tolle would say, but it wasn't Eckhart Tolle. It was by T. Harv Eker, which is basically you just say thank you for sharing, and then you let it go. Some people like to imagine a brush brushing away the thought or the image that comes to mind. To me, that kind of does the opposite effect. I like to just do T. I just like to do T. Harv Eker's method, which is just say thank you for sharing and move on. You may find a subtle joy or bliss arising, what some Hawaiian practitioners describe as nani nu, or deep contentment, as you continue in Hakalau. Stay here as long as you like, be it a few more seconds or several minutes. There is no time limit. When you are ready to conclude, you can either let your eyes softly refocus on a single object and then blink, which is pretty awesome, or simply carry on with your day while maintaining this very widened awareness. These 5 steps, Ho'ohaka, Ku, Lau, Hakalau, Ho'okohi, outline the core of Hakalau meditation. You fix your gaze very sternly, then let go of that sternness, relax your mind, broaden that view, immerse in the new expanse that your vision created, and try and sustain it. It's a very graceful progression from attention to intention to extension of awareness. As you practice, remember that there is no strain or force at any stage. Hakalau is gentle. In fact, you might be surprised by how quickly this state comes on. Often within moments of shifting into peripheral vision, a person enters a very light trance, a calm, alert state that neuroscientists would associate with alpha brain waves, which I'm not an expert in that, and parasympathetic, rest and digest activation. And it's very, very easy and organic to do. And now I'm going to provide to you a few practical tips as you practice Hakalau. The first thing I could tell you is blink normally. There's no need to stare so hard that your eyes ache. You can blink as needed. It will definitely not break the state. The goal is a soft gaze, not a fixed glare. And breathe naturally too. After any initial focusing breaths, allow your breathing to find a slow, steady rhythm. You may notice your breaths becoming deeper on their own as you enter relaxation. And definitely I would start small. For your first sessions, try maintaining Hakalau for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, if you can do it. You can set a gentle timer if you'd like, or just practice until you feel you've had a good session. On your first attempt, doing even a few minutes is a success. And that's another thing that really separates this from the other tools that I've done in this series, is just how quickly this fixes it, how quickly this puts you in a trance. It happens literally in 2 or 3 minutes. And increase gradually. With practice, you can extend the duration. You might also progress from doing it seated to doing it standing, and eventually even incorporate it into moving activities. Many find that once they get the hang of it, they can walk slowly while in Hakalau, or use it during a breath at work while gazing at a wall or out a window. And then I would integrate it into your daily life. The ultimate goal, if one can say Hakalau has a goal, is to be able to slip into this state whenever you need it. Over time, you might be able to summon a Hakalau moment in the midst of a stressful day just by relaxing your gaze and breathing out. You switch on the peripheral awareness and you instantly feel a shift. Finally, as you finish any Hakalau session, take a moment to acknowledge the change in your state, this meta-awareness. When you release the wide focus and return fully to normal vision, notice how your mind feels clearer or your body feels lighter. Even a short practice can create a noticeable reduction in stress and an increase in present moment awareness. Many practitioners report that problems which felt pressing before meditation seem smaller or more manageable afterwards. This simple act of opening your gaze often brings a fresh perspective, literally and figuratively. And brings us to our final point, which is the most important in regard to this series. One of the most beautiful aspects of Hakalau is how universal and accessible it is. This practice does not require any special equipment, environment, or belief system. It relies on capacities everyone has: eyes to see, a mind to observe, and a willingness to let go. In essence, Hakalau offers a kind of cosmic permission to pause and find peace anywhere at any time. No matter who you are or where you find yourself, you can take a brief moment to engage your peripheral vision and enter this state of calm alertness. You might be sitting at a desk, waiting at a bus stop, or standing in a crowded kitchen. Whenever you need a pocket of peace, Hakalau is always available to you. It is meditation stripped to its purest form, just attention and awareness, here and now. And secondly, the immediacy of Hakalau's effect is often striking. Unlike some forms of meditation that can take many minutes to quiet the mind, Hakalau can induce a trance-like calm in mere seconds. As soon as you shift into that broad peripheral gaze, your nervous system responds. Heart rate can decrease, breathing steadies, and the mind hushes physiologically. What's happening is that engaging your wider vision activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, telling your body it's safe to relax. This is why even athletes and high performers have been taught to use Hakalau to quickly center themselves. For example, contemporary coaches have introduced Hakalau to sports players to help them enter the zone. By adopting this open focus, athletes can reduce anxiety and gain a 360-degree awareness of the playing field, improving their performance under pressure. It's quite amazing to think that the same technique a Hawaiian shaman used to commune with nature can also help a modern hockey player see the rink more clearly and calmly. That speaks to a universal human benefit, and that is Inalienable Paradise. Hakalau demonstrates that mindful awareness is a universal heritage. Similar open-eyed, open awareness practices exist in other cultures, sometimes called soft eyes in certain martial arts, or open focus in modern psychology. The principle is the same. By widening the lens of attention, you step out of the chatter of the everyday mind and into a direct experience of the present, the external world. It reminds us that regardless of culture or creed, human beings share the same basic neurophysiology that allows attention to influence emotion. This simple act of looking differently can shift us from stress to serenity. And the portability of Hakalau is total. You carry your awareness with you wherever you go. As long as you have space to look, even if it's just a few feet in front of you, you can practice it. It can be done in nature, taking a broad vista of ocean or forest, or in the middle of a city, gazing softly at a building across the street. You can do it alone, or even amidst a crowd. And once you master it, you can definitely do this amidst a crowd, because no one can even tell that you're doing anything because you're just looking at something on the surface. That means Hakalau can be a private sanctuary that you can enter at will without needing to close your eyes or isolate yourself. Another remarkable feature of Hakalau is its inclusive simplicity. It asks nothing but that you be as you are, only more aware. You don't have to adopt any complicated posture or mantra. You do not need to believe anything except that a moment of quiet observation is worthwhile. Your neurophysiology literally does the work for you. In practicing Hakalau, people often rediscover a sense of childlike wonder, what I earlier called a second naivety. Think of how a child can stare wide-eyed at the world, fascinated by certain shapes and colors, not yet hemmed in by narrow attention. Hakalau invites that quality back into our adult lives. It gives you permission to drop agendas and simply observe with a soft, open mind. In that openness, there is often a feeling of lightness. You may notice that problems recede, even if nothing has objectively changed. Emotions that were tangled inside you might unknot, which is something I struggle with tremendously. replaced by a gentle clarity. It becomes nearly impossible to hold on to anger or fear while you are in this Hakalau state. The vastness of your attention simply will not sustain the tight focus that strong negative emotions require. By engaging the whole of your field of view, you naturally dissolve whatever small fixation was fueling the distress. What does this mean for daily life? It means Hakalau can be your tool for immediate recalibration. Feeling anxious before a presentation or an exam, you can take a minute to do Hakalau. You find a spot above your eyes, relax your gaze, and let your awareness spread. You will likely find your heart rate slowing and your mind clearing. Feeling overwhelmed by tasks or emotions, use Hakalau while seated at your desk or stepping outside for a moment. And it will grant you a pocket of calm, even feeling angry or frustrated. Stepping into peripheral vision can diffuse the intensity, granting you a moment of grace in which to respond more calmly. In Hakalau, you are in a state of what some call lateral serenity. By that, I mean a serenity that comes not by direct confrontation of the problem, but from the side, by broadening out. Instead of wrestling your busy mind head on, you gently lead it outward. And in doing so, find calm approaches indirectly from the periphery of awareness. It's a beautiful, simple hack for the mind. The universality of Hakalau also lies in how it connects us to our environment and to others. When you practice Hakalau, especially outdoors, you may feel a sense of unity with the world around you. By opening up to the full scene, say, a sunset sky wide, the ocean on the horizon, swaying palms at the edges of vision, you might experience a subtle disillusion of the boundaries between you and the world. In Hawaiian spirituality, this aligns with the idea that we are not separate from nature, but we are an integral part of it. Hakalau can thus foster a quiet sense of oneness, of harmony with one's surroundings, which, if you learn to incorporate acceptance beforehand, it then becomes quite healing rather than depressing. Even in an urban setting, gazing at the farthest building or the expanse of the sky above the skyline can remind you that you are part of something larger. It's a moment of cosmic permission in another sense, permission to belong in the grand scheme of things, to feel at home under the vast sky. With practice, you might carry a bit of that spacious awareness with you all the time, seeing the familiar world with fresh, expansive eyes. Before I conclude, let's reflect on what Hakalau offers to each of us. Individually, at its heart, this practice is about reclaiming a natural, peaceful awareness that is our birthright. There is no person who cannot access this. It's literally as simple as looking. In a sense, Hakalau could be considered an inalienable paradise, a refuge of the mind that cannot be taken away because it resides within your own perception. You don't have to travel anywhere or attain any special status to enjoy it. With full sincerity and a bit of boldness, you grant yourself entry. Hakalau is always there, waiting for you to notice it. And each time you do, you strengthen your ability to live with a calm, open perspective. In sharing Hakalau today, I hope you have not only learned about a fascinating cultural practice, but also glimpsed a practical tool for your own life. Perhaps you even tried it as we went along and felt that gentle widening and quieting inside. If so, you now know in your own experience what it is to stand in that open attentiveness. If not yet, then whenever you wish, you can give it a try. It costs nothing. It carries no risk, and its benefits, clarity, tranquility, undistracted presence are things that we all seek. Now, standing at the end of this exploration, consider how a simple shift in perspective can make a profound difference. We live much of our lives looking straight ahead, narrowly focused on the tasks and troubles before us, because most of the time that is what society and survival demand. But remember that built into you is also the ability to expand that focus and take in the whole panorama of existence. There is immense value in occasionally doing so, in stepping back, or rather stepping out with your awareness, and embracing the whole of your existence. It renews and restores you, and often brings fresh insight and creativity into whatever you return to. To conclude, I offer an aphorism, a final thought in all the wisdom that we've discussed. Consider this. 99 times out of 100, we may adhere to the ordinary confines of focus and routine. But it is vital that one time, just once in 100, we choose differently. That we open up to the full horizon of attention, acting boldly and with full creative attention. In this singular act of widening our perspective, we discover a world of calm and possibility that was always there. An inalienable paradise within our reach. And I guess the last thing that I have to offer is this wonderful quote. And I love this quote because it can be taken both as an approach to life and of how to live life, and an approach to our perception. And it's by an amazingly talented person, an author named Václav Smil, who is mostly famous for being hugely admired by Bill Gates. And he has this wonderful quote that I will now tell you. Everyone in higher education was what I call drillers of deeper wells. These academics sit at the bottom of a deep well, and they look up and see a sliver of the sky. They know everything about that little sliver of sky and nothing else. I scan all my horizons. This is Inalienable Paradise. John Burness signing off. Thank you.